Joined now by our political panel. Ammar Moussa was Director of Rapid Response for Vice President Harris's campaign. Kevin Sheridan, a regular participant at this desk, former spokesperson for the Republican National Committee and a former senior advisor way back when for the Romney-Ryan campaign of 2012. Ammar, it's great to have you here. Thanks for joining us. I don't know, did you see David Hogg's interview?
I did, yeah.
I'd like to get your instant rapid response to that.
Listen, this is who David has been. He's always been a fearless and tireless champion for democratic ideals and principles.
Is he right?
I don't think Democrats should be afraid to have these tough conversations in public. I think we have, as Senator Booker said during his 25-hour filibuster, we haven't gotten everything right, and we shouldn't be scared to have these conversations in public. We spent $1.3 billion on the Kamala Harris campaign, and we still lost. And so I dismiss the argument that we should be putting $20 million for frontline districts, and we should have these conversations about.
Do you believe there are asleep at the wheel House Democrats?
I think we could be better as a party. I definitely do.
Kevin, you're gloating over there with a face that's almost beatific. Weigh in, please.
Well, they're both right that they're at 27% in the polls as a party, and that might as well try something new. However, I was at a campaign committee, and the #1 job of the campaign committee was to protect your incumbents and make sure that they're resourced enough and unity inside the party. However,
I would say that, let me ask you this, because you went through a postmortem after 2012, where a lot of Republicans were asking what went wrong. This was a winnable race. How is that conversation best handled? And is it best handled quietly internally or externally with primaries for people perceived by one or another as ineffective within the...
Well, the RNC that conducted that, I was long gone by then, but they got everything wrong. Because Donald Trump came down the escalator and said exactly the opposite of
what the autopsy report was after 2012.
It might take an outsider for a Democrat to emerge like Donald Trump did. He's one of one, obviously, so I don't know if there's anybody out there like that. But some new ideas are probably going to have to emerge for the Democrats to come back. They're in a rough place right now.
I want to play for both of you something that Lisa Murkowski, independent senator from Alaska, said at a town hall event yesterday. Let's listen.
We are all afraid. I'm oftentimes very anxious myself about using my voice because retaliation is real.
So the first thing the senator needs is a better handheld microphone. If you didn't catch all that, ladies and gentlemen, she said she's afraid retaliation is real, trying to find her voice as a sitting United States senator. Ammar, what's your response?
I mean, Senator Murkowski is saying the quiet part out loud, that this is a Republican Party that has completely given itself up to Donald Trump. This isn't your grandfather's this is actually not Kevin's Republican Party of 2012 when he was working for Senator Romney and Paul Ryan. This is a Republican Party that doesn't believe in the Constitution, openly talking about running Donald Trump for a third term. It's a Republican Party that doesn't believe in free trade anymore with a reckless tariff strategy that's raising costs on families. It's a Republican Party doesn't believe in the rule of law anymore, openly flouting the Supreme Court and court rulings. So I think every American should hear what Senator Murkowski is saying and be afraid of what this means for the future of the Republican Party.
The retaliation is real part, Kevin. True?
Senator Murkowski has often taken forward-leaning oppositional positions to Donald Trump.
She got out of the party and she ran as an independent.
And she's an independent.
She's caucuses
with the Republican caucus, but she frequently takes shots at the president. She voted against his cabinet nominees, but voted for all of Biden's nominees. So you know, she's doing her thing. I think you'd have to be much more concerned as a Republican if you heard this come from somebody like anybody in leadership or anybody who's you know, in a swing state district that hasn't gone independent. I mean, that's just not a.
Do you think she is entirely alone
about.
in saying retaliation is real in Republican ranks if you buck the president?
To some degree, it's real, and to some degrees, it's always been there. But in other cases, it's just not. We're going for unity right now, as a party. You know, everybody has to swim together to get these bills passed. And if they don't enact an agenda, they're all going to fail. They're all going to lose. So, and they know that. So it's retaliation and unity are, you know. in the eye of the beholder.
Ammar, I want to ask you about something you're very familiar with, George Clooney, and his maybe outsized role in either being a conduit to fundraising or kind of a avatar of where the party thinks its future ought to be. And he recently was quoted saying that Westmore is the Democrat he thinks has the best chance of succeeding in maybe 2028, saying that he is levitating above the rest, meaning the rest of the Democratic Party. How do you evaluate that?
I think also in that same interview, George Clooney brought up some other incredible Democrats. I think we are.
Yeah, but he didn't say any of them were levitating above the rest.
I mean, Westmore is a good-looking guy, so it's easy to say he's levitating. But we are very lucky as a Democratic Party to have an impressive bench, especially at the governor level. Across the board, we have Democrats who are at the governor level who are not just acting as bulwarks against the Trump administration, but are actively working to make the lives of their constituents better. And hopefully in 2028, all of them will have a really good platform to run on.
Does George Clooney need a woodshed moment for what he did? And the books are now describing in minute detail to President Biden with his op-ed in the New York Times?
No, I don't think so. I think that there were a lot of factors that were happening last summer, as we all famously remember. But I think George Clooney is well within his right to publish the op-ed that he did, and President Biden made the decision that he made.
And that's all you have to say on that?
That's all I have to say.
Do you think Westmore is a serious person, the Republicans, as they think about a post-Trump future, whether there is or isn't one, and we'll find out in due course?
I don't think he concerns. Look, he's in some ways an impressive governor, but I don't think he's on anybody's radar in the Republican Party too high right now. I think AOC is actually probably the front runner.
How do you evaluate the AOC, Bernie Sanders, going to red parts of America, Bakersfield, California, suburban Boise, Idaho, Missoula, Montana, huge crowds, big fundraising? Does that mean
taking the private jet on the billionaire tour? Yeah, those two are the energy in the party, obviously. They're raising tons of money.
Do you see parallels to the Tea Party?
Yeah, you could say that. I think there's going to be resistance to AOC running, obviously, from some wings of your party, but you would know best.
Running for what? Against Schumer?
Either Schumer or if she ultimately runs for president. I think she's got all the energy. She's got the money, obviously. She's going to play a big hand in it either way, whether or not she runs for something bigger or whether or not she...
Quickly on that point, you can both weigh in very quickly, though. Do you think that thing that she and Bernie are tapping into is that populism that still hasn't found a permanent home?
Leftist populism, yeah, I think you could say that. That's where it is.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think if you look at some polling that came out from Navigator yesterday, some of the most popular Democrats for primary voters, yes, are Bernie and AOC, but also Hillary Clinton and Pete Buttigieg, and people who you wouldn't say are from the left
and
populist, and Vice President Harris, Kamala Harris. And so we are a broad tent party for sure.
Ammar, if you want to make Kevin Sheridan smile every time at this desk, just mention Hillary Clinton. Ammar Moussa, Kevin Sheridan, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time.